Policy 713 is a policy that was introduced by the New Brunswick government in 2020 to protect the rights and well-being of LGBTQ2 students in public schools. The policy sets minimum requirements for schools and districts to create a safe, welcoming, inclusive, and affirming school environment for all students, families, and allies who identify or are perceived as LGBTQ2. The policy covers various aspects of the school environment, such as curriculum, instruction, documents, forms, materials, evaluations, transportation, events, activities, and communications. It also defines key terms and concepts related to sexual orientation and gender identity, such as cisgender, non-binary gender, gender expression, gender identity, homophobia/transphobia, legal name, preferred first name, LGBTQ2, and ally. One of the main features of the policy is that it allows LGBTQ2 students to use their preferred name and pronoun in school without requiring parental consent or notification. This means that students can choose how they want to be addressed and recognized by their teachers and peers according to their gender identity. The policy also requires teachers to respect the student's choice and use their preferred name and pronoun consistently and correctly. Another feature of the policy is that it allows LGBTQ2 students to join alliance groups in school without requiring parental consent or notification. Alliance groups are student-led clubs or organizations that provide support, education, and advocacy for LGBTQ2 students and allies. They can also help raise awareness and promote acceptance of diversity and inclusion in the school community. A third feature of the policy is that it allows LGBTQ2 students to access gender-affirming supports in school without requiring parental consent or notification. Gender-affirming supports are services or resources that help students explore and express their gender identity in a safe and respectful way. They can include counseling, healthcare, clothing, accessories, washrooms, locker rooms, and other facilities. The policy also states that each school must have at least one gender-neutral bathroom that can be used by any student regardless of their gender identity or expression. The policy also encourages schools to provide other gender-neutral facilities and spaces as much as possible. The policy was developed in consultation with various stakeholders, such as LGBTQ2 organizations, educators, parents, students, health professionals, human rights experts, and government officials. It was based on research and evidence that showed that LGBTQ2 students face higher rates of bullying, harassment, discrimination, violence, isolation, depression, anxiety, suicide ideation, and attempts than their non-LGBTQ2 peers. The policy aims to address these issues by creating a more positive learning and working environment for everyone. However, the policy has also faced some opposition and criticism from some parents and teachers who have raised concerns about its content and implementation. Some of the main concerns are about the age-appropriateness of teaching students about gender identity, the lack of parental involvement and consent, the potential conflict with religious beliefs, and the impact on sex education curriculum. These concerns have prompted the Education Minister to launch a review of the policy in 2023 to examine its effectiveness and alignment with other policies and curricula. The review of the policy has sparked outrage and fear among LGBTQ2 advocates and supporters who argue that the policy is necessary and beneficial for LGBTQ2 students who need protection and affirmation in school. They claim that the review is motivated by anti-LGBTQ2 pressure and prejudice that undermine the human rights and dignity of LGBTQ2 people. They also worry that the review could lead to changes or repeal of the policy that would put LGBTQ2 students at risk of harm and discrimination. The LGBTQ2 community and their allies have expressed outrage and fear over the government's decision to review Policy 713, which is intended to create an inclusive and safe environment for queer students in schools. Policy 713 allows students under 16 to go by their preferred name and pronouns in the learning environment without parental consent, and also supports the establishment of gay-straight alliances and other initiatives to promote diversity and respect. The government announced the review after receiving hundreds of complaints from parents and teachers who claimed that the policy was confusing, intrusive, and inappropriate. However, the child and youth advocate revealed that the review was based on only 3 emails over 30 months, which he said were not representative of the views of most New Brunswickers. He also criticized the government for not consulting with LGBTQ2 youth and experts before launching the review. The LGBTQ2 community said that the review was unnecessary, harmful, and motivated by prejudice. They argued that the policy was based on evidence and best practices, and that it was essential for protecting the rights, dignity, and well-being of queer students, who face higher rates of bullying, harassment, discrimination, violence, and suicide than their peers. They also said that the policy respected the privacy and autonomy of students who may not feel safe or comfortable coming out to their parents or guardians. The LGBTQ2 community also denounced some of the comments made by Premier Blaine Higgs, who questioned the appropriateness of drag queen storytime events for elementary and kindergarten students, and suggested that schools should focus on teaching rather than promoting something. They said that these comments were ignorant, offensive, and dehumanizing, and that they showed a lack of understanding and empathy for the diverse experiences and identities of queer people. They also accused him of spreading misinformation and fear about LGBTQ2 issues. The LGBTQ2 community and their allies have called on the government to stop the review and uphold Policy 713 as it is. They have also demanded an apology from Higgs for his remarks. They have organized rallies, petitions, letter-writing campaigns, and social media campaigns to voice their concerns and show their support for queer students. They have also shared their personal stories and testimonies to highlight the importance and impact of Policy 713 on their lives. The LGBTQ2 community and their allies have said that they will not back down or be silenced by the government's actions. They have said that they will continue to fight for equality, justice, and inclusion for all people, regardless of their sexual orientation or gender identity. They have said that they will stand together as a proud and resilient community, and that they will not let anyone take away their dignity or rights. The child and youth advocate of New Brunswick, Norm Boss, was one of the strongest critics of the government's review of the LGBTQ2 policy. He released a report in March 2021 that slammed the review as unnecessary, harmful, and lacking evidence. He said the review created fear and anxiety among LGBTQ2 students and staff, and violated their human rights. He also said the review ignored the voices and experiences of LGBTQ2 students and experts, who were not consulted or involved in the process. He recommended that the government uphold the policy and implement it fully in all schools. He also urged the government to engage with LGBTQ2 students and experts to ensure their safety, inclusion, and well-being in the education system. He said the policy was not a political issue, but a matter of human dignity and respect.